Construction News Tracker is presented by Caterpillar and produced by 4constructionpros.com. We had hoped to offer news of passage of a new infrastructure bill by this time in October, but political forces arrayed against the president were able to force a postponement. Stay tuned. Builder sentiment rising after falling off during the pandemic, even as chronic labor and material shortages and other problems brought down single-family starts in August. The latest NAHB Wells Fargo Housing Market Index is now at 76, a point higher than July, but not nearly as high as the 90 in November of 2020. It's mostly fueled by the drop in softwood lumber costs, which is lowered 60% from May. Home building prices are up 13% according to the NAHB. Single-family starts was off 2.8% in August, but multifamily rose 3.9% to hit the 1.62 million annualized rate. The drop is not seen from weekend demand, quite the opposite, as ongoing shortages appears to be the culprit. In conjunction with that is a report by Realtor.com that the nation is short some 5 million single-family homes. In researching Federal Census Bureau numbers, the firm says about 12 million new families were formed in the U.S. between January and June of this year, yet only 7 million new homes were constructed. Single-family home construction has suffered greatly as a result of the COVID pandemic from worker shortages and supply chain challenges. A shift in priorities are reportedly behind the decision to end a 33-year joint venture between Hitachi and John Deere companies. The decision means Deere will no longer sell Hitachi construction equipment in the U.S. under the Deere brand. The $275 million bow-out agreement has Deere purchasing 3 Hitachi factories in the U.S., as well as licensing agreements between the two parties. The Hitachi-produced excavator line will continue to be built through 2022. Quiet as a church mouse. That's how the new Deere prototype electric backhoe is being described. Dubbed the 310X Tier, Deere utilized Utility Expo to unveil its new machine. The 310X hybrid electric backhoe is being demonstrated by National Grid, one of the nation's largest utility companies, which has used the backhoe on job sites nationwide this summer. Crews working around suburban Chicago have been installing the largest concrete beams ever built in the U.S. along the reconstructed I-294 Tri-State Tollway. Specialized trucks with 10-foot wide trailers and 14 axles are being used in the process as workers reconstruct 237 lane miles of highway, replace 51 bridges, build 12 new ones, and reconstruct others in the $4 billion project. The heavily used highway carries some 360,000 vehicle trips daily around the Windy City. If you plan on attending bauma, the massive construction industry trade show in Germany next year, don't look for Caterpillar itself to be represented. The nation's large highway heavy equipment manufacturer has decided against attending the show in Munich, Germany, October 24th to the 30th of 2022. Instead, CAT has announced that its German dealer Zeppelin bauma Scheinen will assume responsibility of displaying CAT construction equipment, service, and solutions at the world-class event. CAT says its decision reflects a shift in company marketing. We told you about the Cool Pavement project in Phoenix when it was instituted last year, and now the results are coming in. City officials say the cooler pavement technology carries a lighter color and chemical properties and turns the sunlight back toward the atmosphere rather than absorbing the heat in the dry desert city. Phoenix applied the chemical mix to 9 sites citywide, and it has reduced ground temperatures, thus saving energy in buildings, and dropped temperatures for residents some 5.5 degrees in conditions that can generate 120-degree temperatures in the summer. Construction faces a marked turn for the future if OSHA goes forward with a plan to regulate heat on job sites. Facing a regulated heat standard for job sites, contractors would have to adjust their workers' exposure to heat on anything above the 80-degree mark. OSHA says thousands of workers are affected annually by the effects of heat exposure, and this initial heat exposure platform could effectively change the way construction projects are handled in the future. A sweep of job sites in New York City by building inspectors resulted in issuing 3,600 violations and 1,500 stop work orders. The Department of Buildings action came about after 7 construction-related deaths in the city of New York in the first half of 2021. City inspectors checked contractors for hazard-related efforts, including fall protection, controlled access zones, guardrails, and other fall protection areas, checking out 7,500 construction sites across the 5 boroughs of New York City during the summer months. Some of those job site permits were rescinded as a result. In closing, I will do something will always solve more problems than something must be done. This is Construction News Tracker, looking over the industry that makes the world a better place, presented by Caterpillar and produced by 4constructionpros.com. Follow us on social media at Twitter using hashtag Construction News, YouTube at 4constructionpros, and on Facebook at /4constructionpros, as the streaming web never ends.
Construction News Tracker is presented by Caterpillar and produced by 4constructionpros.com.